So, Thomas, you want to start with the question number one for today?
So I guess where we're going to start was two questions that kind of begin with high emotional children. Specifically, there's been a question about a child that runs away and is violent towards others. Just to talk about some strategies and that kind of complexity when you have the high emotions and the child is physical and they're running away, which is a huge challenge within any child person.
Yeah. So, okay, this is what I say usually when I'm talking to people about children. If there is a saying that I've actually put up on Facebook a few days ago, or Instagram, depending upon where you follow us, is that if you want to understand children, you have to understand emotions. Because children do not think logically, they think emotionally. In fact, how about I put the brain up now to show you something? So we've got two brains over here. In limbic system, we've got a few more parts of the brain. So if you just look at the orange brain, it's not orange, by the way. It's actually not orange. It's just what the painting and drawing is. Okay, so let's call it for now the adult brain. The reason I say that is because that's the brain which is responsible for executive functioning. Executive functioning happens because you and I gain experiences in our life, and then we are able to deal with because of these experiences, we learn a few things through hard learning, or if someone said it and we self-realize or became self-aware. All of that is there. Amygdala over there is responsible for emotions. So just remember this photo for now, and I'm gonna now take it off. So is that okay, Sophia? We can take it off. Yeah. So as I said, the orange part of the brain is an experiential brain. Now, you and I both know children do not have one thing. They don't have experiences. What does that mean? The orange part of the brain, which is responsible for inhibiting. What do I mean by inhibiting? Let's say Thomas and I are driving in the car together. I don't know why this is happening. And Thomas says, hey, look, a kangaroo. I'm going to inhibit that stimulus by saying, hold on, Thomas, I'm driving. Park the car and then look for the kangaroo. That's what called inhibitions. For that, we need the prefrontal cortex. The studies show that males take it 33 years. Some studies show 42, females 28 or 31 respectively. Okay, so slightly earlier for females, apparently. Yeah. So I will look over there, but because I have this inhibition orange brain, I will stop it. So I will stop that urge of that emotion. What is it? And I'll inhibit that. Okay, so now that part of the brain, we are developing. It doesn't exist yet. We are developing it. The space is there, but we haven't had the experiences in it. Okay. The other part of the brain, emotions. That part of the brain is also responsible for emotion. And in my workshops, I talk about what's the difference between thoughts and emotion. Now, think about that. The blue part of the brain is the part of the brain children are born with because it's an intergenerational brain. The memories are already there. See, in orange part, we wait for experiences to occur to us. So that's good. So let's say, Thomas, I was born in India. I was born in India. So my experiences in India guided me to understand a few things in my environment. Orange bit. You were born here, fine. You did things this way. But you and I have the same emotion: scared, fear, anger, happiness, love, shame, guilt. You and I share that. It's a condition of human. What does that mean? The child, when they are born with the intergenerational, that is the experiential brain. That means if you want to understand children, you have to understand emotions. So when I hear questions such as this, which talks about highly emotional children, well, children are emotional. They're not logical. We are not going to get, rarely we will get a child, oh, look, a highly logical child. Okay. I mean, if I know there are highly logical children who put you in spot when you say, hey, do this, and they say, my mom pays you to do that. And you say, oh, well, be respectful. And like, you're not respectful to me. Why do I need to be respectful to you? And so there are logical children. I'm not talking, if they have more experience, they'll gain logic. That's fine. So how do we deal with that? I want you to think about when the last time you were emotional. That means your amygdala was on fire. On my Facebook, there's a 1 hour conversation on how amygdala and prefrontal cortex are different. Please look at that when you get a chance. Okay. It's a 1 hour video. Maybe we can send you a link after this session. So Thomas, I'm looking at you right now. It's much easier. Thomas, last time you were highly emotional. What happened to the logic?
I think that's where, when we're talking about children in those emotional states, we reflect on ourselves. I think we all can be on the same page that when we are emotional, we're irrational.
Yep.
I am trying to think of an example, so I'll go to the most recent time. It was probably a couple of minutes ago, but a lot of the time, I know I've learned, which children haven't. When I feel those emotions, we walk away. We exclude ourselves for a bit, revisit it later on. And when we're talking about children and how they're, we're reacting to these emotions, we often try to react in the moment.
Okay. So I'm going to build on that. You just said, when I have high emotions or large emotions or big emotions, I walk away. So I'm just going to add something to it. You inhibit the urge to punch the person in front of you and you walk away.
No, I did that. I walked after.
That's the bruise that I have. Oh, okay. So I just didn't want to. Therefore, I have these extra lights here, so you can't see the dark side. So, I wonder why we do these sessions online so people can see it. Okay, so you inhibit the urge first as an adult. Well, I mean, we like to think we do it. Sometimes you don't do it. So imagine this: you're driving a car, someone cuts you off on the road. I'm talking about that urge. Okay, you're driving a car, someone cuts you off on the road, and you go. So I want to come to the answer though. Understand this, or let me assist you with this. When emotions are already high, it is already too late to assist that child. So we would have to look at what happens prior to that high emotion thing. But let's say, I'm not saying that it's too late. That means we won't do anything with it. I want you to come to the fact that when we talk about getting to their level, most of the time when people talk about getting to their level, they think about this, for instance, and I think I was talking to Nikki a few days ago about this. There's a child crying, upset, so the emotion is sad. Okay, you approach the child, and you're new to to your organization, let's say, or to the experience, and you have no idea what to do now, right? So you look at your staff members and say, "What do I do?" Staff member says, "Get down to their level," and it's always get down to their level, as in something is down there. Okay, so, and usually the responses are, you sit down. But then what happens? We don't talk about that now. We say, make an eye contact. If you're listening to this as a group, have a look at the person sitting next to you and try and make an eye contact for 5 seconds and see how it feels. Okay, especially if you're emotional. Okay, getting down to their level was limited to being physical. That is, I'm going to sit down. Getting down to the level should also be emotional. If that person is sad, think about the last time you were sad and what worked for you, what didn't work for you. Therefore, for educators, you and I need to become a bit more self-aware. So I've been saying to my people when I work with them to name the emotion they are going through. So you name it. You say, I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm happy. I'm happy. And then understand the physiology happening with it. So when you're sad, what's going on? What do you not want to do? Say it. Say it loudly. Say it in your staff meeting. I'm sad. Sorry. Staff meetings usually make everybody sad, but depending upon if you voted pizza or not. But so name your emotions. Go Google what emotions are. In fact, I'm going to send you the video. Have a look at the difference between thoughts and emotions, so you don't collapse them. You don't say, "Oh, I'm frustrated." Sorry, frustrated is a state of mind. It's not emotion yet. Okay, emotions are physiological. So name it, so that you are so aware of your emotion. When you approach there, you have the chance, not 100% chance, to get to that level. And I have seen a number of times, if a child is upset and you go there knowing, hey, you look upset to me, and you don't even have to say necessarily anything, but know that, what did you like when you were upset? What were you like? What did you not like to happen around you? Now, let's say he says violent towards other children and educators. Okay. And can I just add one more thing? It says running away and then violent towards educator. They think happen together, by the way. The child is running away, educator goes close to them, and they hit the educator. Okay. Sometimes that happens simultaneously. So let's have a look at it one more time. And I'm going to give that to give the stage to the people who are listening, because it's been 10 minutes that I'm speaking. So, but I just want to finish this one. They run away. I think that's what Thomas was doing, walking away as an adult, but in bounds, the child may be out of bounds. So I want you to think about this. Go back, don't need to show the photo, Sophia. I'm just saying it verbally, so you don't have to worry about it. You know the orange brain that I was talking about, which is the inhibition brain, the prefrontal from the cortex brain, yeah? In the times when the amygdala is calm, have conversation about this. Hey, yesterday I noticed that you ran away. Or don't say ran away. Maybe that's a wrong language. Hey, I noticed that you went to that tree. Tell me about that. And just discuss these things. Hey, a few days ago I saw that you were really cranky. You became angry. Do you want to draw about that? You want to talk about that? You must talk about these emotions when the person is not emotional, to be then able to create a structure for when emotions hit, that you have a structure, that you've practiced this, talked about it, spoke about it, talked about it, just like educators are talking about it. We want educated children to be talking about emotions, not just exhibiting emotions, talking about emotions, so that you have something to deal with. But it is, so if something happens, sorry, so at 4 p.m. today, it's a data for you to talk at 11 a.m. tomorrow. But if you do not talk at 11 a.m. tomorrow, then tomorrow at 5 p.m., if the emotions occur again, then we are back to the same thing. Thomas, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, just before we move on with the questions, but it kind of touches on this other question we're referring to, where they were talking about how do we build confidence in our educators when they're practicing, when assisting with big behaviors.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think
Okay.
this is, we're
One way.
talking about strategies and you're telling them how to do it. But I think part of that is also how do you get educators to a point where they're able to just confidently handle this or go through those motions?
And I will, that's just a part of it. So I will get to that answer after I've taken another question from someone. But I just want to say, Thomas, one strategy that I've set for that question now is just start naming your own emotions. Okay. Become confident in recognizing your own, so that you start observing that in others. Okay. So time for people. If you have a feedback question, if you have something, please write that on the chat column. And we are also on Facebook Live, by the way. So if I don't even know how this works, so type it out. But any question that you have now in that response to what I just said. So I'm just gonna give a few seconds. Actually, we don't know if people are typing. It's not like Messenger, so we never know if people are typing.
There's a few names there, so I'm not going to name them, but I just thought specifically if I could get the center coordinator that I'm definitely staring at here, just to type something, just to make sure that chat's even working.
Oh, that's why. No, that's Vicky is my friend, Thomas. Okay, Ariel just said something.
There,
Oh, hang on. Hi, Ariel. How you doing? So, okay, so I don't see that there is question, and I think that's why I built these questions up. Bill requested these questions up in advance so we can have a chat. But people, as you feel a bit more comfortable, feel free to ask question. This is the time that after every question, you will have space to respond or ask another question. So now, if you are still typing, hold on to that question now. But keep typing, but don't send it, because we're going to go to the next one. Is that okay? And then share your questions again, because I want to answer those. So Thomas, you said something about educator. I'm just highlighting that question. Big
Yeah,
emotions and
confidence.
behavior.
So you're talking about how, educators, what the strategy is, but effectively we can tell people this is how you do it, but they still have to do it. And how
Okay.
do you build that confidence?
Okay. So firstly, I think that I know the question you're talking about. Gain confidence by assisting little people with big. I like the way you wrote. Whosoever wrote this, little big people, little people. That's really nice. Young people, big emotions and behaviors. Okay. Big emotions, breakdowns. Yeah. When so what? Firstly, let me read the whole question properly so people know what I'm reading. We just want to build emotions and strategies for educators so that they can deal confidently with big emotions and behavior. You know what big emotion is as compared to the small emotion? Big emotions are primary, secondary, tertiary emotions. So what does that mean? Primary emotion, I'm angry. But I know I can't show this here because no, let's use another societal structure on individual. Societal structure expectation on an individual is men don't cry, let's say, or don't cry like a girl. This is a societal thing, although it's changing, but it's like really still there in grassroots. Okay. So now I'm a man and I want to cry. I have a twin sister, she cried all the time. And I wasn't allowed to cry. Simple. Societal structure. I wasn't born with this information. I was just given this information. So my orange brain is like, okay, orange brain inhibition. Okay. I want to cry, but I can't cry because last time I cried, people laughed at me. Right. So for 3 months, I haven't cried. Now I want to cry again. So how would it? So I'm sad, yeah. But I've been sad for 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 days. Don't know. How do you think it's gonna come out as? Sadness or anger when it comes out, Thomas? Would you say a child who's now pushing someone because he was sad for a few days? Don't line up. Don't stand next to me. Don't stand next to me. Don't. That third time, that's an anger.
It's always anger. And I think when we talk about these emotions, a lot of the time we're referencing the anger. Because I don't think anyone here has a problem with a sad child.
or a happiness child. Oh my, how do I deal with this child who is so happy? So that's a good point. So it comes out as anger. But let's say when it comes out as an anger, the consequence that child gets, the child wasn't aware of that consequence, or the child has never agreed to it, such as respect your elders. The child hasn't agreed to that. That's what you and I made up. Okay. So tertiary, we don't know how it's going to come out. It may come out as shame. It may come out as anger. It may come out as fear. Now, by the time we come to the third one, that's when we're talking about big emotions. Okay. So therefore, let's go back to the thing. If staff members can start pointing their own emotions after having watched a video, not my video necessarily, you can do whatever you want to do. Like there are tons of things that you can do in your life. Yeah. But if you watch my video, just give it a like. Okay. So if we staff members start pointing at behavior, noticing behavior, calling it, we become a bit more confident in it. And then when this primary things are happening, we want children to express that and call it, number one. And even if you're absolutely brand new staff member, I tell you, when we talk to children, emotion to emotion, because that's the brain they have, not logical, emotions to emotion, you don't have to even note it down. Oh, yesterday I wasn't able to talk to Jeremy. Today I can talk to Jeremy. Confidence is not something that you noted. Confidence is something after 6 months you go, oh, this is normal now. I can do it. It's not, yes, then in hindsight you go, oh, 6 months ago I wasn't able to do it. But now as you're accruing it, you don't have a notice of that. So start pointing emotion so that you can start talking. Why do I not want you to talk logically to them? Because I just want to give an example. So, Thomas, I know that you can take it or you can say it to me. So just say it to me that you will come naturally to you. You hate me. Just say it with sass, like, yeah, Joe. Say.
No, I actually do hate you.
Okay. I heard it so many times, I don't even care anymore, Thomas. Therefore, I have tissues next to me. So when a child has this high emotion, I know. But a child is not going to say, I dislike you. They're going to go straight to hate you. Okay. It's like they're not going to inhibit the graduation of their emotion. They're not going to go, I dislike it, I highly dislike it, or I hate it, or I abhor it. They're going to go straight. If they need the word abhor, they will say the word abhor. Okay. So they're going to say hate. Why? Because of the amygdala. When it is active, logic goes out. So let's go back. So when a child says that, what is usually response to an educator that I've seen, and therefore we do not build confidence towards it because we are not with the emotion, we go through the logic. We say, you can't say that here. Or be respectful to me. And I'm saying, that's the logical difference. You think he can't say that here? He just said it. So he literally, logically, he can say it. You just don't want him to say it. Just say that. Oh, that's an interesting word. Hate is a strong word. What happened? Are you upset? That's when we are going to the emotions. So can we start with this question? What happened and how does that make you feel? These are two questions. I start, most of my sessions will end with these two questions. And most of the sessions are 3 hours, right? But I'm instead of giving the 3 hour session, I'm saying, can you please start with what happened that this is the memory in your head that you hate me? Okay, this is an impression in your head that you hate me. That's what you're inquiring. And number two, how are you feeling? You can even start with number two. So let's do it. Thomas, can you say I hate you?
I hate you.
You can?
I hate you.
That's okay. I'm gonna go for a walk, but I'm gonna come back. You look
I'll
sad.
hate you when you come back.
That's okay. See you soon. And I will be still there. That's fine. This is an emotion. It's not gonna stay like that forever because have a look. We think that sadness stays for all forever, but damn it, happiness doesn't. You're happy for 5 minutes, it goes away. So as
Yeah.
soon as you sober up, I guess. So let's go.
I
It's an
think the
emotion.
only thing I feel with confidence in educators, though, as leaders, I think one thing that we can do for our team is to give them that opportunity to succeed in these. So where you might have a new educator, you're not going to give them that situation where it's, hey, no one in the team can handle this. Give it to the new guy. Let's see this new guy have a go. But so you need to have those little wins that challenge your team, but they're achievable.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're able to gradually build up to where this is. But additionally, that's also just forming relationship with children, and that's
Actually, one
what
of
you
the
do.
reasons, and I'm going to give the stage back to the people also. One of the reasons why people actually don't even try, and then leaders might say, "Oh, we have lazy staff members," is because one major reason is they don't think that they can do anything with it. They think that they're defeated before they try.
Yeah,
So if you want children to start, educators to start gaining a confidence, I'm saying start working on their awareness of their own emotions. Start looking at certain things together where you can be in the space with the child without being logical. And the third thing I'm saying, or Thomas just said, if they fail, that is, fail in doing something that we had planned for, that's perfectly okay for that moment. And number four, I'm saying, people, it's perfectly okay if somebody is not going for it. Let's have a look at it right now. It's happening in this room right now. I'm absolutely certain that people have questions, yeah? But we don't ask questions because you're like, oh, what would people think of me if I did that?
Mm.
Yeah? I'm not talking about just this session. Even if at university with 165 people, I'll say, any questions? And you think, oh, I want to go home. Number one. Number two, damn, is my question good enough? And how many times I've done this? Somebody asked a question, any questions? And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, how would I phrase that question? How would I phrase so I'd sound intelligent enough? I don't want to ask. And by the time I'm like phrasing my one question, somebody has already asked that question. Like, damn. So I have to frame another question. It's too late then. Okay.
Fortunately, there's ChatGPT to make us all.
So, what is happening here is what happens on the floor.
Yeah.
I want to go to that child and talk to them about what happened, how does that make you feel, but I also don't want to come across as scripted. So, but by then I've already been observed by someone that I'm not competent. Oh, and we all are suffering from that. The fact that we do not want to come across to our bosses that we are not good enough. Okay, nobody wants to be at that position. So if we were to start being vulnerable as leaders, as vulnerable, that would be really nice. As a leader, you can say, "Oh, I'm angry right now, and I just am unable to hold this emotion." Say that loudly, not at someone, but just say it. Make it a practice at your service. Don't have that. I see a table in Modern Family as well. Yeah, Alana, I got the question. I'll have a look. Absolutely, yeah. Um, I see a table of emotions, where you sit down on the table where you are upset. So you sit on this side. If you're happy, you sit on this side, and sadness and anger and all that. I want that to happen in a staff meeting. If you do that, I want that to happen in the staff meeting. Why don't we do it in a staff meeting so that educators can reflect more? Four things that we talked about, educator confidence just then. I just want to take it with the questions from you all. I've just got a question, I believe. Why can't I see it now?
How do you emotionally help a child who has emotionally shut down and retreated within themselves?
Yeah. Okay, good. So let's look at, I don't like to ask this question to adults or educators, the question why. I don't like to ask that question. Why? Because why is something which deems logical. For instance, by the way, who asked that question? Alana?
That was Alana's question.
Hi, Alana. Thanks for that was a really good question, Alana. Thank you for asking that. Yeah. So, Alana, although I can't see you, I'm just going to pretend that Thomas is Alana for a second. Okay, Alana, I'm saying that let's not ask a question why, okay, to anyone. For instance, I do not want to ask you a question, why are you the way you are? That is, why are you shy? Why are you procrastinating? You may have some answers, and then I will say, no, it's not good enough answer. Why are you shy? Because I don't like people. Why don't you like people? Okay. However, we always stay in the inquiry of why as educators. We will not ask the question why to a child, but to each other, we will say, why do you think that could be happening? What is happening? So again, going back to the same question, why, what happened? What might have happened already that his child is not opening up? So here's the answer to one of the reasons why. So let's go back to our own emotions, by the way, people, everybody. This is turning out to be emotional for educators session. Okay. But I just want to show you this. Let's go back to the time, or some of us may not have to go very far. How many times somebody has asked you what happened and he said, nothing. Come on, tell me, nothing. How are you feeling? I'm not fine. And then I'll walk away because I know that you're inquiring a lot. What leads to that? So you don't have to say this. I'm going to just tell you this. We don't think, when we don't think, I don't know how loudly I want to stress about this, because I have a mic, therefore I'm talking calmly. Okay. But if I didn't, if I was on the stage, I would have screamed about this. We don't speak when we think what we will speak will not be acceptable. Okay. That is when we shut down. When we know that if I open my mouth, these guys will A, either not accept me, or B, not understand me. You won't understand anyways. Why would I say anything to you? When we categorize our audience, as small, that is, they won't get it, or as missing the point, they won't get it. They don't even care about it. That person, that kid, or even an adult has a view of you. They believe something of you that you would not get if sorry, Alana, I'm not saying you as in you. I'm talking about us as a whole people, right? I'm talking about when have I not spoken my words? I've not spoken my words because I think I'm not, they won't understand me. Absolutely. I don't do that. But there's two reasons. Number one, they will not understand me. Yeah, that's clear. So why do I say? And number two, I will not, and that's a bigger one. It's a bigger one. They won't accept me. If I open up, they won't accept me. And that is this emotion, shame. I'd like to talk about shame for more than anger or sadness. I talk about shame and guilt way more. I am reflecting in my own life how much I like to avoid shame. I call it day in, day out that I'm doing this to avoid shame. I'm doing this to avoid shame. I tell you, Sophia, you just have to say yes or no in the writing. When Sophia joined this session early in the morning, I showed her this room with lights on, this room with lights off, then with lights on, then with lights off, just to make sure that I look good in this session. Okay, Sophia, yes, no? Yeah. I just did not want you guys to think any less of me. And if the lights were off, and Sophia had said the lights off does not look good, and one of these lights, there are bloody 3 lights here. If one of the lights turned off, I would be so not effective in this session because throughout the time I'll be thinking, what are they thinking about me? And it just hinders my expression. It just hinders our expression. So if a child believes, so let's go back to what Thomas had said earlier. Thomas, say one more time, I hate your face. Sorry, I added something more to it.
I hate your face.
Now that one was you were happy to say. Okay.
Mm.
Now, Thomas, I'm going to tell you this. Don't say that to me. Respect your elders. Now, I've just said that to Thomas again. Now, Thomas can fight, and that's fine. I'm not even going to talk about Thomas. Think about a child who is 10 meters away from Thomas, and he has also heard that. Next time, the other child who does not want to fight, okay, he doesn't believe in fighting. Thomas may believe in fighting, that child. He he heard you speak to Thomas, or he heard somebody speak to someone. Don't say that here. Respect your elders at this place. So that child, when that child is upset a few days from now, that child is not going to open up because he saw what happened to the kid who opened up a few days ago. Okay. He's not going to open up. So 2 reasons: shame and they won't understand me. Shame. And how do we deal with that? Say, when you're ready, I'm ready. We'll have to do this for 2 months, people. We have to do all of this for 2 months. It's not going to work together. So I'm saying start with educator understanding their emotions, educator approaching children, even if they are saying, bah, 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 bah. That's okay. We'll talk more. Okay. And we do that for 2 months. That's when the child is going to go, every time they come to me, they are always ready to open up. So I want to open up. So that's what but I'm just to add something before I go back to the people. So Thomas, the 2 things, I think I'm clear about that. Yeah. Okay, cool. And a strategy also that Alana, please ask me another question if you have any. Another question, another strategy that I added, not strategy, but a practice that we would have to do it for 2 months, all of it, so that children can start understanding a bit about us, that this is who we are. But then there is another thing, when emotions become physical, when educators have been hurt. So I'm a big advocate of staff members. And I just don't want to say, oh yeah, just start talking, what happened, how does that make you feel when the child is throwing a rock at you? Okay, so that is another question there somewhere. What happens when a child is actually harming staff members? In fact, it was in the neurodivergent also.
Yeah.
That what happens? How do I deal with it? And what happens when you've done something, but your management has another policy? So something is so I'm going to touch that answer now. No, not now. I'm going to leave the floor to you guys. Then I'm going to answer the question about educators getting physically hurt. Okay, but before that, I just want to see any questions from you all, people. By the way, I can't see chat because
I'll read any out, but there hasn't been any follow-up questions.
Any questions, people, about emotions? But by the way, any feedback? If you did this, that for me, that is the session. Yeah. Thank you. I got 2. Thank you. Cool. So at least you're understanding a little bit about the emotion there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But no questions so far. Yeah. Okay. No questions. Right. So hey, Pen and Tills, how are you doing? Shani's here as well. Welcome. Okay, so Alana, did I answer your question? Because you asked the question, I just want to see thumbs up or something, just to see if oh, I got a heart, Alana, wonderful. Okay, so educators getting physically hurt. Reiterating one more time what I just said earlier. Get to the emotions first of yourself, self-awareness, so that you can start having some sort of commonality with the child, because you and I both share same emotions, but you and I do not share the same logic. My logic is different than the child. My logic is different than yours logic, Thomas. But emotions are same. Okay. So if we have a space of self-expression, a space where a child can speak things that you like and things that you do not like, both. We say, oh, sorry, at our service, we have this Article 31, that children have a voice in everything they want to say. Article 12, play and leisure. Is it Article 31? I think I just mixed them both. Maybe I should stay a bit longer in the night to study about these children rights. So when people say that at our service, we have this children voices, but then at the same time, they also have do this, do this, do this. It means like voice as long as it's in a constrained space. Okay. So if you say, I like packing up, that's a good voice. But if you say, I don't want to pack up, that's not the voice you want to hear. Okay.
Mhm.
So what happens when somebody has started hurting you? Okay. So no matter what you do, by the way, people, you and I will never be able to have handle of anyone's emotions or behavior completely. And we have actually tried that in our life with our, I don't think my dog's 100% in my control. I don't think anyone in my life has 100% control. I really hope that you and your organization, and actually, I'm not going to just say the word hope, I'm going to stress on it. I'm going to stress that this is We Belong Education's belief. I created this organization to be the advocate of staff member, okay, educators. If your organization's policy is only looking at children's well-being but not staff well-being, then we are missing the point here. If the staff are not happy, and I'm not talking about that happiness where they, oh, but I want a pay rise, so I'm not happy, or I want days off, but I'm not talking about that happiness. I'm talking about basic safety need of the staff members. Then we are just looking at one thing and not looking at the whole structure. We cannot look at any element. I don't know how strong do I need to stress about that. We cannot look at any element in our society in isolation. We cannot look at any element in our society in isolation. You can't even drive in isolation. You have to drive as per the other person driving it. Other person broke rule. You would have to sway your car to protect yourself. Okay, if someone you recognize that is about to hit you from the back, because their brakes failed, you might have to cross that road, the red light also. You can't, I can't just say, oh, well, I'm going to charge you $300 ticket because you did the red light without learning that, hang on a sec, the truck was about to hit him and the truck was, had lost the brakes or whatever that means, and then, like blowing horns or ambulance, you're giving space for ambulance. So if staff members have started doing everything that they can do, because that's where it all starts, by the way, we will have to do what is required, such as we will have to look after our own anxiety, we will have to look after our own emotions, we must listen to Spotify. Sorry, I just wanted to plug my Spotify channel. We should listen to Spotify, not my episodes. You can listen to whatever you want to say, but something which is building your knowledge base. Okay, we do that because that's what the My Time, Our Place, and EY says: lifelong learner. So you are building it, you're building it, you're building it, and whilst you are building it, you are still meant to be protected. Okay, so how do we protect that? We must have parents, the child, the you, and the child. Okay, there's something called care ethics. So when I talk about ethics, there are four types of ethics, deontology, four types of educational ethics that I talk about: deontology, consequentialism, care ethics, and virtue ethics. So I want to talk about care ethics. Care ethics says, care for someone who you have connection with, care for someone who is vulnerable. So let me give an example. There are lots of children dying in some part of the world. We don't have to name it. There are lots of children have been dying in some parts of the world all the time. Yes, no? You and I are all educators. And we like to say we are global citizens, we are educators. How many of us slept, how many of us lost last night's sleep because one of the children died there or one child died there? No, no. But if you had known that child, if you had known the name of the child, you went to Nepal or India, or you went to Pakistan, anywhere, like America, and you came to know that that child is going through some tough times, biologically or due to unrest, civil unrest. Would you sleep? No. Would you be making 1,000 phone calls to make sure that the child is safe? Why? Because you know it, so you care about it. That's a human function. When you know someone, care comes out of that. That's what care ethics talks about. The other thing which care ethics talks about is care for the vulnerable. And in society, many a times we consider children vulnerable. Yes, that's fine because of their prefrontal cortex been developing. But at our services, our staff members can also be vulnerable. So we need to have policies which are aligned with your well-being. If we don't have policy, then we're looking at an element in its own, and then we are not being inclusive. In the name
So
of it, sorry.
something that we kind of discussed amongst our team in particular is we look at our learning framework. Some people may have heard three words: the being, becoming, belonging. And when we do this, we discuss it obviously with the child in focus.
Yeah.
But one thing that we've been, we've brought it up is to say how important is that educators, yeah, we can always say all stakeholders, schools, families, and everything, but educators in our team also need to have a sense of belonging. When we look at becoming and everything else, that's other aspects, but that belonging and feeling a part of it is so crucial for your team, because how can you build that and encourage that within children if you also don't feel that connection?
Again, that goes back to the emotion. How can you have any empathy with a child who's feeling sad and you've never felt sad? So if you're feeling hurt, if you're physically getting hurt, see, I'm not talking about those ones that you feel hurt because the child looked at you funny. I'm not talking about that. I'm not even talking about, oh, the child wasn't respecting me, Saurabh. No, I'm not talking about that. The child didn't pack up, so I got hurt. No, that's not child. That's not where the child is at. That's where we need to work on. Therefore, we believe it. Therefore, I've been running these educator workshops. Okay, so we build confidence or awareness, realization, and how do we do that? Is by learning concepts. So we go, yeah, okay, I get it. Because confidence is a byproduct of clarity. If you don't have clarity, then you're not going to be confident. Let's face it. I'm driving my car, Thomas. Let's say you're sitting in the car again. I don't know why this is happening again, but let's say we're down. And the GPS. Now I'm a confident driver. I like to think. Okay. Now GPS is playing up. Suddenly, the same guy who's like so confident, like what? Because now I have no clarity as to where am I going. I'm forgetting my gears. Like some things are confidential, so that's fine. Sorry, not confident, habitual, so that's fine. But then something like, oh yeah, shh. Like, hey, Saurabh, can you start the music? Like, shut up, I can't start the music because at that time I'm not confident anymore. But when
Well,
I know that,
that's just what happens when you land in Sydney.
that's what I paid so many toll to that silly tunnels of yours, and therefore I sent you that
All I
meme.
ever get is I get a phone call. Hey, I'm exiting this tunnel. I don't know where you're meant to be going.
This is
Why are you calling me?
Therefore, when I'm in Sydney, I charge extra $15, $20 because that's what I spend in tolls when I'm in Sydney.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that. Confidence comes from clarity. If educators do not know that if I do this, this will happen. If they don't know the clarity, if they don't know the consequences of their action, they're not going to be confident about doing that. They may as well not even do it. It's fine. So I just said something controversial that sometimes people, I said, you are not being inclusive if your educators don't feel inclusive. I just wanted to stress one more time because I know it's confrontational, and therefore I want to say it one more time. Okay. You are not being inclusive if educators don't feel inclusive. Period. As much as you want to write your policies for children well-being, if you miss the plot of educator well-being, then I'm sorry, children are not going to children won't feel inclusive. If a child is hitting, if the child, it says the child ran away. The child did not run away. The child never ran away. The child went to somewhere where he felt comfortable. He didn't run away. He got attracted to something else. If you become the attractive thing, he'll come to you. Why would he go there if he has everything that he needs here? But if you don't have sense of belonging, how can he give sense of belonging to someone else? The child never ran away. The child went to somewhere where he thought, leave me alone. That tree is better than you. I'm more attractive than you. Okay. So the child is not running away. Nobody's running away from us. If we are awesome working out, and you and I are happy, the policies support us, educators support us, parents, and I don't know what those policies could be because I don't want to stamp that we belong policy on it because that's not true. When we were at Wyong, Thomas, culture is different. Okay. When I was at Mariba, culture is going to be different. When I was at Port Macquarie last week, it's different. And I'm going to Gladstone 3 days from now. Gladstone, Wollongong, Sydney, Townsville. Yeah, that's just next. All of them are culture different. So I'm not going to go there and say, do they? No. But have the principle that the educator must feel confident. And one of the ways people do it is by providing learning opportunities. So providing opportunities or just buying a pizza. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next question now. So
Yeah, do you want to ask a question or can I touch on this? Because
yeah, please, and then I can ask the question. Yeah, touch on it.
no, well, we're just talking about we started talking about neurodivergent children.
Yeah, yeah.
This question, which is relevant, we're just talking about like if a child is neurodivergent, should we be treating them differently to the other children? And I think for me, like I have an opinion on it.
Yeah, okay.
But so if somebody is different in that manner, and it doesn't need to be neurodivergent. I feel it's well saying, do we have a child who's diagnosed ADHD? Do we have a child that's diagnosed this? Should we be treating them different to everybody else? Should we let them hit or be more understanding?
Okay. Yeah. So I will answer something and then I'll take your answer. Is that okay, Thomas? Yeah. Because I thought you just said you have an opinion, so I want to let you speak.
Oh no, yeah, give me your answer. That's fine.
But you'll only get 5 seconds. So
I think everyone in this room's used to that now.
practice and behavior are two different things. So when I say behavior, I'm meaning educated behavior. What you do to that child may look different, but should still be consistent with your philosophy. Okay. So it will look different to the fly on the wall because you didn't do that to someone else. Okay, so it looks different, but to you, you're doing the same thing. So let's say you are caring for both parties, but how do you care looks different. Okay, so if somebody is, let's make it physical, because sometimes what happens when we talk about neurodivergent, people go, not making sense. What about this? What about? But let's talk it's physical disability. Okay, if somebody can't see, legally blind, would you hold hand while crossing road? Yes, no. As compared to someone who, okay, sometimes you still have to hold hands regardless if they can see or not. But I'm just talking about if they can see legally, you'll hold hands. That doesn't mean that, oh, but Mr. M, oh, sorry, that was my school, yes. But Saurabh, you didn't hold my hand. But I'll hold your hand too. It wasn't that I wasn't holding your hand. It was just I was holding his hand. See that it's the way you interpret it. You just thought that I rejected you when I held his hand. No. I gave you what you needed and I'm giving him what he needs in this moment. I'm going to give to everyone what they need in this moment. And it's going to look different to you, but to me, it looks the same. Okay, so I'll give another example of this quickly. Another analogy. I talked about egocentrism a few days ago, and I said that for let's say if you expect me to share my food with you, right? But I'm not sharing it. So you think Saurabh is not sharing food. Got it? Because you expected that of me, that Saurabh should share food with me. So you think I'm not sharing food with me. If you ask me, you know what I'm doing? I'm eating a pizza. I don't know that you expected that of me. So many a times when other children are watching you do something to someone else differently, yes, they will pose questions. Hey, you didn't tell us. You didn't do that to us. Why does he allow? Why is he in the office and we are not? Why does he get a headphone and we are not? Well, great opportunity to have a conversation with them about inclusion. Isn't that a great learning curve? Yeah. But again, still, if your question was in relation to you are being hurt or getting hurt by someone who is neurodivergent, then I go back to my point. Okay, then I go back to my point that actually long daycare is slightly supported, but in OSH, oh my goodness, or OOSH, you guys like it, OOSH, Sydney people, Melbourne people. In OOSH, there is no funding for environment, and yet you have to provide that environment which allows that child to feel comfortable. Some services don't have money to buy noise cancelling headphones. So of course that child is going to, so if somebody wants to just have educators provide an environment alone, which is also a question about the environment, go provide an inclusive environment. Well, thank you very much for that thing. I didn't know that I had to do it. How about you transfer also some money so I can provide an inclusive environment? Then otherwise you are at the forefront of, you are at the receiving end of the conflict between theoretical policies and practices on the floor. So yes, they will look different, but it is an opportunity for us to talk about that to everyone else. Okay, Thomas, did I answer that question, by the way?
Yeah, I think you touched on most of it. I always like to, think about it. And we say you have a family come in and say, oh, we're getting checked or we're doing this. And oh, we finally got that piece of paper that says, my child has been diagnosed X, Y, and Z. Here you go. Often I've always said to the families that have worked with me to say, well, thanks. We can put that in our, IS funding and get all that. But really, it shouldn't change anything. What we have in place
Okay.
and what we do and how I treat the child is all different. It's all varied. Whether if they need emotional support, it might be that child gets that iPad and has to regulate their emotions through that, and then other child saying, "Hang on a second, I just saw him tear. Hey, do you see that ball? He did that, and now he's getting an iPad." Like, come on now. But that's where understanding the child and supporting them is going to be different, and it's going to be viewed different constantly.
I think about the iPad, which is also a metaphor for other things right here, symbolizes a few things. And I'm going to give that stage to other people because this might have triggered some people, what I just said, or what I'm going to say. By the way, it's okay for me to trigger a conversation. I don't trigger people, I trigger conversations. Okay, so that we can have some conversation that we've been thinking about, but we don't have it. Okay, therefore, we're doing this session for free so that people can talk. And I want you to be expressive about that. Okay, and knowing the nature of question that we've got or I received, I want to do another one and another one, like make it a habit of We Belong providing such sort of.
We've got 25 minutes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say the metaphor of iPad. If a child needs iPad and other children are saying, what about our iPads then? We can again have children voices and let them speak about their needs of iPad, talk to them about collaboration as to, hey, if I give you iPad, what can we do? What can we not do? Every disappointment, every triggered conversation is an opportunity to create agreement. So if a child comes to me, why didn't you hold my hand? Why didn't you give me iPad? Great opportunity to talk. I don't know how the outcome would look like. I don't know if you will change the policy to have everybody iPad, or you will change the policy that everybody will understand that they can't have an iPad except him. We don't know the outcome. I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm just worried about the process where you and I have a habit of creating agreements with educators. So now we have a question, or do we?
No, it's that. Yeah, I was actually thinking of this. It was someone just shared that photo. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's all
The equal and the fair.
opportunity, yes. Fair opportunity.
Oh, and
equity versus
who else? It's Shani from the inclusion office.
Yeah.
Shani. I find some staff struggle with different way children are treated. I find some staff struggle with the different way children are treated than the children do.
Yeah, it's like a staffing is find it more difficult.
Show them this video maybe. So, but Vicky, isn't that also a good point to start conversation? As I said, if a staff member, just like the child, is triggered by what you just did or not do, it is also a point, because I don't think I understood this when I was 17, 18, 21, 24. Like I have some milestones in my life that I was thinking about. And I think I have changed my opinion about these things as I have grown. Maybe I've gone back to where I was, but Vicky, as a leader, I think that the philosophy, how about we take that question now, what Vicky had just said, which is about the change of mindset, because she just said about mindset.
Yeah. Okay. So,
by the way, people, those who can't see my screen, because it's a big 32-inch screen, I have it. Sometimes I'm looking this way on that.
Yeah. So the question is how to change the mindset of educators who just want children gone and can't see the potential in support children through the big emotions.
So big emotions, children gone. I'm just talking about mindset.
Yeah. How do we change the mindset?
Sophia, be ready for the slide on educator versus adult. Okay, not yet. I'll tell you when to do. So is it okay if I say Vicky for this answer? I address this answer to Vicky. Okay, so Vicky, imagine this. I'm going to put an argument up here and I'm going to say we can't. we will never be able to change a mindset of an individual. I think that the mindset that you and I have changed, and again, this is an argument. You can argue against that or for it. Let's have a look. Things that has happened occurred in your life, things that you now believe in, you have full you attribute that responsibility to yourself. I believe in because I really believe in it. We don't say, I believe in it because my neighbor believed in it. Whatever you and I core belief is, we are so certain that it is us, it is me, and I can't change. In fact, I was talking a few days ago to someone who is here, also in leadership. This is my core belief. I can't change it. So hang on a sec. That would mean that nobody can change our mindset about our core belief. That is, if I believe in 4 things, and Thomas then tries to create another mindset in me, and if Thomas does change it, guess what I say? I don't say Thomas changed it. I said, I believe in it. It's always about I believe in it. Okay. So we are not going to be able to change the mindset of educators. We are going to give them 2 things. Actually, when I do 2, balloons come up on Zoom nowadays. That is okay. So 2 things. And it's a journey. Vicky, it's a journey. Okay. 2 things. Number 1, awareness. Number 2, realization. Guess what people do? They collapse it. Okay. So I'm going to distinguish that. What is the meaning of distinction? We must talk about what something is not so that we can understand that thing. We must understand what awareness is not, what realization is not, so that we can understand the difference. Am I making sense, Thomas? Yeah. So let's have a look at this journey. Awareness. You have a staff meeting, staff training, you said it, you made them sign in a document, all of that. Inclusion, you gave them my time and place, Eva left to study, Melbourne Declaration Right, whatever, UNCRC, yeah? That's just the awareness, that's just the knowledge. Oh, I'm aware that these things exist in my world. What is the realization? It's a different thing. Realization is when things become real to you. You have lived yourself. For you to go, I know my mom used to say this, and I used to think she was uncool. Damn, these same words come out of my mouth now. Oh, it's people often say, oh, see, I made you aware. So that means from tomorrow, you should be okay to do this. No, you just told me. I have just given an exam. So what's the difference between awareness and realization in education? Example. How much you and I have studied. We study sometimes for early years learning, 4 years. For OSH, sometimes you don't have to study, but people take on studying, or they might be studying something else. Okay. So let's say you're studying education-wise, you're studying in school, sorry, university, different courses. Studying, you're also learning, you're having a peer discussion, you are doing assignment, you're getting an assessment, you're getting 6 GPA, 7 GPA, 5 GPA. Okay, cool. You're like, okay, right. And then you go to a practicum. And then you're standing there and you just want to tell children silent reading, but your voice doesn't want to come out of your mouth. Okay. That's when you realize that lesson plan I just made there is not effective here. Okay. Realize means something that becomes real to you. Going back to Thomas's response. We want our staff members to live the experience by going to the child and talking to the child, because it makes that experience real to them. They may not be able to articulate it, they may not be able to write an essay on it, but when they keep doing it over and over again for a period of time, they start realizing it. Unfortunately, if your staff members are unable to understand that two people are different, or they interpret world differently, therefore we should also not do different things to them, do the same thing, but they look different to them. One day they might also experience something where they would want to feel or treat it differently. When they realize it, when they experience that, that's when they're going to come back and say, "Ah, I get it." Now you can't make it happen, you can provide opportunities when that can happen. So Sophia, would you mind showing that the slide once? Because
And I just thought, while we get that up, no, get it up.
Yeah. So I just want to show people this. I created this a few days ago. Is it okay, Sophia, if I say I created that instead of me saying you created that? So, So I have put an identity of an educator and an identity of an adult. On the top is an adult with his or her belief. The belief being, oh yeah, I'm an adult, I know what's the best thing to do for you. Listen to me. So of course, getting frustrated at the child. The educator, on the other hand, sees the same behavior, but because of the realizations, not because of a blue card or WWCC card, okay, realization that, damn, every story is different. That's when an educator becomes an educator. Before that, they're just people with working with children card. Can you turn this off now, Sophia, for a second? So again, a controversial thing coming up. I'm a big advocate of educators, and we must know just because we got a job doesn't make us an educator yet. So we can't change the mindset of anyone. Is that okay, Vicky? But we will provide opportunities. We'll provide realization opportunities. We'll put them in, not put them in spots, but give them opportunities to act, to do that, and then have a conversation. Okay. Okay. So I'll just end this with a funny thing, and then on flow questions. Yeah.
I want to touch on one thing about this after.
Okay. I am now a Qantas Gold member. Okay. Gold class because I traveled so much. Okay. Thank you, Thomas, for being
15 minutes left.
Yeah. But now I'm saying I don't want to stand up in the other line. I don't like it. I want my line. I want to be the first one in the flight. Or when I get up, I don't want others to come in the line. I'm not being inclusive about it in my life. I'm not being inclusive. And if somebody goes in, I'm just, excuse me, this is gold class line. You have to go in there. I'm not being inclusive. I like to be treated differently. Okay. Inclusion means include all, yet understand that no one is same. That's what inclusion means. Inclusion does not mean segregation. Inclusion means this is how you need to be treated. This is how you need to be treated. That's what inclusion is all about. But again, going back to the point, not physically getting hurt, staff members, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, or emotionally getting hurt. Thomas, you had a point.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up one point, and it's not going to answer the question, but when we're talking about your team and changing mindsets, obviously we say, okay, well, let's have open communication, describe, tell the why, have that conversation of why you're taking this action. And I envision a lot of people do this. But at the same time, I kind of question when we react in a lot of ways and when we handle and when we communicate with children, we're basing it off our experiences. It becomes a natural part of us. So when we just react in this way, and we don't often sit back and reflect and go, why am I doing that? What have I experienced to then create the person I am to respond in this way? And I think it's really important that if you're going to talk to your team and you want to explain these things, really understand the whole picture and why you made that decision. So when you do, you have that open communication, and then it's going to be almost like an argument because they're going to come back to you and say, but this, but you're confident in why you're doing it. You know
exactly.
why you're doing it.
It's a good question. But is a good question. But this, like, yeah, that's about one more thing I will add to Thomas, and then we'll take another question from someone else. We also have lots of questions here, which are unanswered, by the way. One of the thing was we might want to start opening up with some sort of vulnerability to staff members to show that, hey, look, I used to think the same, and this is what happened in my life, and that's how I change it. So you might want to become a bit more reflective in our lives. Like my whole workshop in 3 hour session that I may, or 2.5 hours or 2 hour session that I might take, half an hour or 45 minutes would be real life stories, which are occurring with me as I speak, so that I can communicate to them, not about we should do this. This was what happened to me. Okay. Now, Thomas, do you want to talk? I'm just looking at this question. Neurodivergent, we've looked at it. By the way, we had 5 questions of neurodivergent. We just made it into one.
Really similar, yeah.
How do I control myself when children are not listening to me? Thank you very much for taking the responsibility. Controlling yourself, I would say, how about we don't control ourselves? We start naming it and starting naming our emotions to begin with. There is a video of an hour on egocentric on Facebook, which we will send a link of. In fact, I'll just quickly request Sophia. Sophia, if you have the Facebook page open, would you mind showing it and going to the video? I just want to tell them exactly what video talks about ego-centric, means self-centered. Okay, so as we do that, go down a bit, Sophia, please. It's a 1 hour video. Keep going down, keep going down. Just a second, just a second, just a second. No, yeah, okay. So you see me holding a cup, Sophia? Can you just point at that? Me holding a cup? Yeah, that one. So that one is an 1 hour, 12 minutes. So sorry if I haven't answered your question in detail, but that one is about the egocentric behavior of adults. And so I don't want you to control yourself. I just want you to become aware of yourself. Is that okay? So that we, thank you, Sophia. We can get off that. Yeah, thank you. So I don't want you to control yourself, please. In fact, anyone who is devoted to learning, people who here are, they know my phone number. They know that they've contacted me and we've talked for long. Anyone who is interested can do that, and I would love talking about that. So this is just a start. The video is just a start. Hopefully something opens up for you over that. There was a very good question that I want to talk about. Is it says, how to make children concentrate? Bam. That's the best. That's so. I was gonna say that's the best. It's not a. I'm not saying it's the best question, but it's a question that I often don't get asked, but I often talk about it without being asked. How do I? How do I make children concentrate? People, I want to put that question to the floor. Okay, I give you 30 seconds. I want to ask, how would you want children? How can you teach someone how to concentrate? Please, 30 seconds. I want to hear your answer. So I want to say, because I struggled with this for a while. Yeah. Jim, 60 years old. Ishani is like, oh, well, there's no hope, Ishani, isn't it? Like, we're still learning. Find out their body and brain needs. Okay, Ishani, thank you. Okay. Anything else? Come on, people. How do you? Well, I really like Jay Farrell. Jay, what is your first name, Mr. Miss? I just want to make sure that I address you properly. That's all. Ishani, I like anyone else has an answer. Oh, hi, Jessica. Oh, Jessica Farrell. Okay, I got it. Um, um, find the interest. Okay. Ooh, find the interest. Ooh, that's good. Mm-mm-mm. I'm going to put Sophia on spot. Sorry, Sophia. I did not, I don't think that you might have this thing ready with you, but in one of the slides, we have children not attracted, distracted from something. Children are not distracted, they're attracted to something else. Would you mind? It's in workshop 1. Would you mind just opening up? Not share it yet. I'll tell you why. Find out what the interest is. You won't have to make them concentrate. Oh, Carrie. Oh my goodness. Who's clapping for Carrie? I'm clapping. 2 people. Did I clap? Yes, I think Tess is clapping. That's good. Play, Alice. Love it. I also love 60 years of 60 years of thing. Okay. So when you're ready, Sophia, would you mind just whenever you are ready, just bring it up. Okay. Oh, she is. Oh, wow. So good. So I often talk about children are not distracted, but they're attracted to something. Yeah. Have you seen how you and I get attracted or focus a lot more on things that we really like to do? Okay. So I really like how people have been answering, find their interest so they can focus. Thank you very much, Sophia. We can get her up. Thank you. Really appreciate that, Sophia. So by the way, I want to admire Sophia that you're doing such a great job in front of everyone, because if I was doing that by now, I might have clicked end the session. Sometimes when I stop sharing, I click end because red. So thank you for not killing this session already. So we can't make anyone do anything. I have a way, I have an advice or a suggestion or something that I've been doing. OOSH SA, when I spoke for them in Adelaide, Walkerville School, Beck. I don't know if you're here, Beck. We did a emotional well-being session for them, and they started doing mindfulness activity. Hi, Pam. Starts off with children. Activity with children. So we did do meditation for 5 to 10 minutes every day, and it helped neurodivergence. It also assisted educators to be aware of and if we did it in the beginning stages of the day, It started off with less number of children, but it became really massive. And if Beck was here, she would have told you more, Beck or Shannon. Um, and this is how we worked on focus and concentration. That is to concentrate on the breathing and concentrate on the physiology. Why do I say physiology? Physiology is equal to emotions, or emotions are equal to physiological reaction. Otherwise, sadness and anger, they are just two different words. But if you look physiologically, sometimes physiologically is exactly the same. So therefore, I said about that. I wanted to just, sorry, Thomas, I'm doing your job, if that's okay.
No, I don't.
There's an educator who talked about dilemma. Actually, sorry, I think I have another question.
Did you write a divergent question?
No, Facebook Live, there's another phone.
Oh,
How do you support a child that doesn't agree with how an educator child was teacher? Oh, wow, wonderful. Thank you, Alicia, for taking that, for saying that.
you said
Alicia,
that.
oh, I'm saying as if everybody knows.
Yeah.
How do you support a child that does not agree with how an educator has dealt with a situation? Bam, of course. Children are not going to agree with how an educator has dealt with it, because in that, so I'm going to just tell you a couple of factors which that might be the reason. Okay. Factor one, the child doesn't think that he was heard. It doesn't think. The child doesn't even agree with the rules that they had made. So, Alicia, there's a concept of agreement that I've talked about in that egocentric video. I said there are two people talking about things that value of them, but they haven't not yet come to an agreement. In that case, it seems like there was not an agreement, an agreed upon sequence of things. So let me say it again one more time. An agreed upon sequence of things which leads to consequence. Okay? It's an agreed upon. You and I, Alicia, so let's say you and I go to a conference, and you and I and Thomas, like 4 or 5 of us, have decided to rent this room in Switzerland conference. Okay. Now, I'm saying because this happened last year. Okay, so we have any comments. Now it's really cold out there, or snowing or something, and Alicia says, you know what, we must make sure that we should keep the shoes outside because it gets wet when we bring the snow inside. Okay, cool. Now Alicia said it, I heard it, but I wasn't even, I was like doing some research or something, or playing video games on my phone. Then Alicia looks at me and says, hey, Saurabh, I wanted to create an agreement with you, but not impose. Hear me out as well. And I say, but if I take my shoes out, I feel cold on my feet as I'm walking in. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. And when we hear both parties out, Sophia, just put up slide 1, workshop 1. I want to show the agreement right now to them in the circle thing. You know, the circle thing we have got, it's a circle. So Sophia's bringing it up. Alicia, I just want to show you this. Agreement is creating when you have heard the other person, and I've heard, and then once the agreement is created, you and I already know that when this happens, this happens. So I say, so let's go to a slide after this. Yeah. So we create an agreement, not because you liked it, not because the other person understands it, because you and the other person has created. Now I want, or I request people in the next upcoming holidays, school holidays for OSH, or any time for long day care, to take the rules out and create agreements so that the children have a say in what they've created. Once that is created, Alicia, this is maybe just a step number 1. This may not solve everything, okay? Step number 1, if a child already knew that if I do this, I have agreed on to this consequence also, okay? Then it is not about this educator made me do it, or this educator made me do it. It's about, I already knew it, that if I did it, this will happen with me. This educator just happened to be the one who executed that decision which we had already taken. So Sophia, we can get rid of that. Thank you. So an agreement is like respect your elders. Now that could be a rule, but people say, oh, that's an agreement. I don't know, elders. I don't know if I can respect them. But if we were to talk about it, oh, sit on the carpet when I'm talking to you. Why? Why sit on the carpet when I'm talking to you? Look at me when I'm talking to you. Why do I need to look at you when I'm talking? Oh, because honey, when you look at me, sorry, I say honey a lot, but you don't have to. When you sit on the carpet, I don't have to project my voice. Okay. So is it okay if I sit near carpet? See why not? Yeah. Can I stand? Because I don't want to sit. As long as you don't move, so that you don't distract others. Yeah, I can try. Cool, let's try it. So you see, it's not sit on the carpet. Look at me when I'm talking. It's stand on the carpet, stand near the carpet. So be on your one knee on the carpet. Look there if you can hear me, and lie on the carpet. Everything is now an agreed upon thing. So that actually this happened right in front of Thomas one day. That the educator was so keen on getting the child. So of course, if the child believes that he wasn't heard, the child is often going to say, "But I was just lying down on the carpet and she would not listen to me." Okay. Alicia, more than happy for you to message me again if you have any other question. Okay. We have a few more minutes remaining. So I'm going to just make sure that I answer a question in complete fullness. Okay. Not rushing because we started 5 minutes late. But if you have to leave, you can leave. But before I take another question, can I plug myself in for a second? Plug myself in as in there are certain things that I'm struggling with in my own life. So, Sophia, I might take this from you. I can do it. I just realized that I can also do this here. So, I have been struggling with something in my life, and that struggle is there are lots of people on this channel that they've had me, and the sustainability of learning is something because we have new staff members coming. So we have a sustainability issue. And what actually happens is when I go back to their service, we start the conversation from day one. We don't start the second or third or fourth conversation. So I've started recording those conversations in a way that and what I'm saying is, if you're interested in conversations, can you see the care workshops, Thomas?
Yeah.
You can scan these. These ones are face-to-face workshops, by the way. But you can take a 15-minute consultation with me. We'll send you this email if you're interested. But there's also an e-learning that I've started, recording episodes like this so that they stay with you for 1 year, so that you can show it to your team, and then if you 6 months later, if you have a new set of team members, then you can show it to them. And the topics that it happens to be the topics that I've created is the similar question that we've been getting. So you can scan that if you want, but then you can also, you don't have to buy all of them. You can just buy just 4 episodes, and there are a couple of people who are actually using that in this room. Actually, there was a question: how do we help people with active supervision? So I just want to say to that individual, I don't talk about active supervision. I talk about interactive supervision, and supervision where we know about children's behavior, so that when we approach and talk to them during our supervision, we know about who we are talking to. Otherwise, the question which Alicia just asked from Facebook was well, what if the child don't agree with you? Of course, because we haven't learned about their behavior, so child doesn't agree. So of course, the next day, interactive supervision is going to be even tougher. Okay, and guess what's going to happen, Thomas? We're not going to be interact with that child next day in our supervision because he doesn't agree with us. And of course, my favorite, emotional well-being for educators, that without which nothing is actually possible. But yeah, join our community, because this is how we send newsletters, these messages about that there's a free session coming up, and join the thing, so we can kind of do this a bit more fun way. There is another one will be coming up soon, people. There is a session like this going to come up. I have to do it because there are lots of questions coming in, and 1.5 hours seems not to be enough. So thank you, Pam. I really appreciate it. Okay. So any question that I have missed, Thomas, that you thought, oh, I must ask that question to Saurabh. And I apologize in advance for those that I haven't answered, but I think I have answered most of the question. There was one question.
Yeah, I think most of the questions were answered. I think generally that it definitely came across that a lot of it came from motivating and inspiring teams, changing of mindset, some strategies around behavior. There was one question which was a little bit about, being exceeding, but there was a little bit more about teamwork.
Yes, teamwork. Yes. I want to just take this question, and I appreciate those who are staying longer, because you might have only been paid till 11:30. Okay. But the reason I'm providing this free session is not because I want to look at my clock. I want to look at the impact that I make in the time that I have. Okay. So this is just another last question about how 3 years old, but you can do this for OSH as well, encouraging rest times or quiet times. calm down idea. So I actually have a really good example that I was experienced a few days ago. I was at a service where they put the blinds down, and they're like, "Hey, look at the blinds going down." Children have just come inside. Tough day though, because it was raining, storming. Right, so they come inside, blinds down, everything's. What then happened was they did that fairy thing. Oh, fairies! We're throwing fairies at you. So everybody like quiet, and the fairies were coming to them, dropping fairies. And I'm trying to be in the dark there, not interrupting anyone. Then what happens? The educator goes to the screen and says, "Hey, look, the fairy is now on the mountain." But because she started that screen, now there was a stimulation. Earlier, darkness, fairies, eyes shut, but now I'm looking and interacting with the screen. And the screen was that Google Chromecast thing. So the screen flips from mountain to dolphin. And kids are like, dolphin. So I'm like, oh no. So of course nobody's gonna sleep now. So because they are talking about dolphin. And guess what the dolphin mean? We now need to act like a dolphin. We need to talk like a dolphin. But before we can do that, now there's a house. Okay, with the screen flips. So if we want, let's go back to the emotion. If we want children to be calm, let's be calm first. Okay. So if I'm calm, not quiet, calm. Quiet is different. Quiet is like, so I'm quiet, but I'm still angry. Calm is like, I'm calm. I said 5 minutes before you want children to be calm, send a message to your adult educators. Calming period starts now. Let's start calming down all of us. So if a child comes, hey, I have a story from yesterday of my cat. Oh, honey, I would love to hear that story after the rest time. You can tell me all about it. I'm trying to rest. I am trying to rest. Make sense, people? If anybody give me this line, I know that I'm making sense. Okay, so I want educators to start calming down 10 minutes before you want children to be calming down. That's very absolutely important. You can't be like, come on, kids, sleeping down, or fairy, or the screen. It's not going to work. But I am absolutely living my dream, doing what I'm doing. And I wanted to share this dream with some of you. And also, my dream would not be possible if you weren't here. So in one way, when I say you, Thomas, don't get your hopes up. I meant everyone. So
I can ruin this whole stream right now.
so in one way, you guys are making my dream come true. Okay. So thank you very much.